Hello, 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 everybody. Good evening, good evening. I hope everybody's having an awesome night. It is the 28th of June. It's 11:35 in Sylvan Hills in Atlanta, Georgia. I hope everybody's having a fantastic night. Just had some thoughts for today. Took a nice little break this afternoon and did some meditation, which I have been behind in doing. I hope everybody enjoyed my live stream yesterday. I know it was a little bit personal, but I meant every word. And, I don't need to say anything else about it. And because you're my brothers and sisters, and if you care what I said, it's on YouTube, and you can go and look at it yourself. And all the descriptions are accurate on this stream tonight, and I have a little list here, and I thought it would be interesting. At the end of the night, one of the things I'm going to try to do is lead by example. And I always say, you should read to, your family and your friends and for yourself. And so I thought it might be kind of fun if I can I thought it might be kind of cool to just read a couple of words. Sorry, that's my second monitor down here. So I need to get some new glasses. Anyway, so
conscious.
Yeah, you should hear that. Okay, so these words are they're very similar, right?
Conscience.
I'm gonna pull this one. There. It's much better. Okay, so I thought it'd be kind of these are two tricky words. And in case you didn't know, I am probably the worst speller on the planet. And growing up, it was really difficult. Without computers and having to use an actual dictionary and thesaurus, and so I just thought it'd be kind of cool to take these two words and kind of compare them together. Conscience, right? One of the ways you can always spell it is to sound silly. Is I always got this from As Good as It Gets. It's conscience, C-O-N, and then science, right? And that's an easy way. Now remember, that's a noun, right? So person, place, or thing. And
conscience.
An inner feeling or voice viewed as acting as a guide to the rightness or wrongness of one's behavior. He had a guilty conscience about his desires. All right, so one more time, everybody. An inner feeling or voice viewed as acting as a guide to the rightness or wrongness of one's behavior. Right, so the noun, a person, place, or thing, conscience, is an inner feeling or voice that guides you whether something's right or wrong. Now it's interesting that when you look at the word, right, at the end it says of one's behavior. Now if we're going to believe that words have meaning, that doesn't say of someone else's behavior. So it's of one's behavior. Now maybe that means of any one person's behavior. But that's the beautiful thing about language and taking the time to refresh ourselves on what words mean. And it's like 5 minutes, right? And think about just that one word. Does it mean one's behavior, another person's behavior, or just your behavior?
Conscious.
Aware of and responding to one's surroundings.
Conscious. Conscious. Conscience. Conscience. Conscious. Conscience.
Adjective. Aware of and responding to one's surroundings. Awake. So everybody knows one of my big touchstones is understanding the difference between things. The difference between capitalism, socialism, communism, fascism. It's going to be really important for our country as we go forward that we all understand what we're talking about. To my brothers and sisters out there, this is our country. This is the United States of America. Land of the free and home of the brave. And I happen to be very proud to be an American. I'm proud of our military, men and women. I'm proud of all the sacrifices that our men and women in the military have done. I feel horrible that people have been ordered to do things that you and I would never, ever in 1,000 years think of doing, let alone doing it. And everybody's piling on that general, and I think that citizen, that private citizen, really has a grasp on what he's talking about. And there is a difference, and I put this on YouTube today on Breaking Points on Sagar's essay, is that I really believe the general meant what he said. And I was really proud of the way he handled himself in front of that committee and the questions that he was asked. And it's, when you're dealing with officer training, it's different than the regular Joe when you go in and you just go to basic training. You're just like a private or a sergeant, you know. And when you, and so you're taking young men and women from all over the country, and they have different backgrounds, and they're going, these, if they advance in their career, they're going to be around very people that think they're smart and try to intimidate soldiers, and they need to be taught things. So that was on my mind, and I wanted to get that off. And I can imagine that there are some folks out there that are probably like, the military's done some bad things. Well, yes, we've all done bad things and part of us moving forward as brothers and sisters is for us to take responsibility for our country, because nobody else is going to do it. And I don't want people shooting at us because the people that came before us were jerks. So, I come in peace, and I love the Lord. I love the Lord, He's my friend. I love Him, I do. So, don't forget, I'm always here to pray for you. That's why I'm always here to pray for you. That's why I come in here. And to read and to have us learn and grow together, and for us to talk about things and to take responsibility and to improve ourselves. And I hope you'll come along for the ride. And I hope that we can make our country better, because in order to form a more perfect union, more perfect, right? Because nothing's perfect. We can always make it better without it being wrong, right? And so one of the things that I wanted to mention was that, I've been listening to a lot of, Chapo House, and I've never really gotten into them, and I have some issues, but I really love those young men, and I think that they are really passionate, and I want to believe that they believe what they're saying. But one of the things that is so frustrating as I'm trying to get everybody's attention is that people in the political elite, journalists, influencer arena, right? There's always a talk about destroying. The Republicans have to destroy the Democrats, and the Democrats have to destroy the Republicans. And the Republicans are dangerous, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and around and around and around we go in this big circle. And I understand defeating a villain. I understand defeating villainy. I get it. But who are we defeating? Are we defeating the Republican neighbors? Are we defeating the Republican Party? Are we defeating the Republican policies? Because, the people, your Republican neighbors, a lot of times don't match up to the Republican... Sorry, guys, there we go. I got my eye on a lot of stuff. So the Republican Party, right? Your Republican neighbors, remember? The human beings, 2 legs, 2 arms, heartbeat. They live near you. Your neighbors. Most of them, a big chunk of them, want better health care. They want minimum wage. Look at Florida, right? But the Republican Party that you say that you want to destroy, right? Let's not put all of it together. Let's make sure that we're separating what it is we're going to destroy. And brothers, I love you, and please don't yell at me. I just have 7 subscribers, and I'm just not trying to. You guys are the pros, but I come in peace, right? And we're American citizens, right? Where to begin? Where do you begin? Do you begin when you're born? we have to start the clock somewhere. You have to include yourself in some group. And what I heard about, the refugees, and if you don't have citizenship somewhere on this planet, you are totally screwed. You are absolutely right. And when I talk about American citizenship, that's why I'm so proud. And I want to make sure that everybody on the planet has citizenship somewhere. And I would love for everyone to be as free as we are, once we get rid of this veil of deception we're all living under. Because we can do this. So I'm not anti-immigrant at all. Brothers, please, brothers and sisters, but we have to do it so that we know who you are, where you live, and that we can protect you from the greedy capitalists that will want to work you 80 hours and not pay you. Okay, so I come in peace. I'm not anti-immigrant, but let's all understand that we have to belong to something. You can't just run around here as a caveman and think that because you say you're a Democrat that that's the end of your allegiance to a group. I'm not talking about tribalism. Now, I do believe in tribal life as a Native American and being green, and words have meaning, right? We have to understand and take the time to listen to what other people are saying. So your Republican neighbors is not the Republican Party. Those people are the same people as the Democratic Party. The donors. Let's keep our eye on the ball, everybody. Okay? Congress is a mid-level management company. They have been hired to manage you, to keep you under the impression that you're free and that the government gives a crap about you. That's their job. Not to pass legislation, but to manage you like a nursery school. And then the billionaires that pay them laugh at us. There's the couch and my front door's open. Right there. I'm still waiting for somebody to come talk to me. Like, I'm literally, come. I want you to tell me I'm wrong. That's my superpower. I have no magic. I want to be the Wizard King. I have no magic. I love the Lord. I obey the commandments of Jesus. I come in peace. I'm a Vulcan scientist from the land far, far away in my imagination. I pray for people that I don't... Right. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. I get off on my little mind tangents because I don't look at my papers. Because I've been trying to write stuff down and stay focused so you guys will stay with me and not leave. So, guys, just remember, right? Let's keep our eye on the ball. There are people that are paying for the world on the internet. There are people that are pay for other people to come and tell you bullcrap. And we have to remember that our enemies have feelings. And if you don't want an enemy, then you want to make them an opponent. That's different. We can disagree on how we're going to get every American health care. We can disagree on how we're going to do it, but you're a villain if you think that everyone shouldn't have health care. I mean, can you explain that to me? Can you explain to me how it's moral or just for anyone out there to ever own a construction company and hire illegal aliens and then bitch about them? I wonder. Like, I was in construction, right? Look at my wonderful resume. Resume, blog, 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 resume, resume, blog, 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 right? So, as if I don't know what happens in construction. I can only imagine. North Georgia, ooh, Home Depot, goodness gracious. ¿Dónde está? ¿Cómo está? Bien. Venga aquí, por favor. I wonder what stories people would tell me. I love the Lord, He's my friend. So, brothers and sisters, let's come together and remember who is America, brought to you by billionaires. So, oh yeah, my note. I can't throw my notes away. Okay, so we talked about that, and I love, but I really do. I know I'm not. I hope you guys don't come at me, because I know I understand that we have to defeat villainy, and that people are big jerks. But let's not be mad at our brothers and the citizens that really, like you said, are just watching TV. Right? Let's not make them the bad people. So, I wrote this down. I don't know if anybody's ever said this before, but I thought this was kind of cool. Because the way I thought about it was like if you imagined like, a glass or cube, right, whatever, and you fill the top part with fluid and it's empty at the bottom, right? So the top part's all full, right? And then this part here, the dividing thing, cracks, right? Because it's under pressure, right? And it's like, I don't know if you could say that to crack under pressure means that you lack equilibrium, because if there were fluid on both sides, I don't know if that's an accurate, like if you could say that or not, but and then, when we talk about, like, when we deal with people, like, so I think that there are groups of people who vote for political parties that realize they're being lied to. They aren't deceived, but they know they're voting for a lie. That's not deception. Okay, so the message to those people is just straight up giving them good policy and good candidates. Okay, that's one type of message. Okay, then now there are folks who are deceived, who are gone down the rabbit hole and might be on pharmaceuticals and really are deceived. Okay, that message is different. And anybody who talks at people who are deceived, talks at them, why are you doing that? And remember, I'm not saying just Republicans. I never said, right, there are people who are deceived. So when we talk to folks, we have to be more of a light we have to be more of a light than a baseball bat. Because I think that they're just as scared of us, right? I mean, us as we are of them. So let us keep our eye on the ball. Remember that America is brought to you by billionaires. These mid-level managers we call Congress are just doing their job. So until you can replace the manager, but the management is still the same. Let's keep that in mind. So the thing is, for 30 years, we have sent people to Washington, trailblazers, and they have blazed that trail right off the edge of a cliff. Never to be seen again. Because the party that's brought to you by the billionaires ensures that they find that cliff as soon as possible. Well, brothers and sisters, God gave me wings. And we are brothers and sisters. This is the United States of America. This is not the United States of capitalism. And this is just, we're gonna come together. I will wrestle you with my last breath to get you guys to smile at one another and to say we're going to build 10 million homes every year until every American. Hey, Daniel. Hey, I just saw you. Hey. We're going to build 10 million homes every year until every American has a home. We'll start there. Or we can show it can be done. So, so one of the things that, before we get to the video, Mr. Oliver's video, is the Health Care Sharing Ministry. One of the reasons I wanted to bring this up is that I hope you've watched my Nobel Prize winning allegedly healthcare plan, and I do mention that there is a similarity in the principle of the systems, how they work together, and so I just wanted to make sure to clarify, because I know I haven't written a paper, on this, or at least you haven't seen it, but the idea, the difference between a healthcare sharing ministry and my plan is that the government, the federal government, is the one that is going to set a standard on what's covered. Just sort of like how the spirit of the Affordable Care Act is that if we're going to call something insurance, it's got to have this in it, right? So let's just blow it all away. Just take everything in your mind, and when you say insurance and healthcare, I want you to take it and I want you to throw it in the trash. Okay, boom, right out of your mind. Throw it in the trash. Okay, boo, brand new baby, ding, 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 little angel wings. Okay, and hip replacement costs the same in Florida as it does in Washington. Well, who's going to set that? Well, that's a very interesting question, because one of the conversations we can have in this broad outline that I've done is to imagine this. Okay, so if you're a doctor, hello doctor and doctor neighbor out there. Okay, so what I want to say to you is that just from one dude out here, right? Like, how much money do you want to make? Man to man, like you're a doctor. How much money do you want to make? Now, if the answer is I want to make $100 billion trillion, you know what? I get you, but I don't think that we can pay one doctor as much as Jeff Bezos has earned. I don't think we can afford that. Imagine that. We pay one doctor that much money. Right? Could we afford that? I mean, I don't know. Just some nobody from nowhere. So maybe you shouldn't be a doctor. Maybe you should be a pharmaceutical company person. And make people pay, a month's rent for a pill. I don't know. Allegedly. So, back to my point. Doctor. Hello, doctor neighbor. How much money you want to make? So we're sitting at the board, we're wherever we need to be to have this conversation. Like, got my suit and tie on. Like, what do you want? How much you want to make? So on behalf of all the doctors, right? Now remember, we're throwing out the healthcare idea. Like, you're not allowed to think that you're operating under the same conditions that you're currently operating on. So, okay, let's look at it another way. See your doctor. Hello, doctor neighbor. What if you make $100,000 a year take home? Take home after all the bills are paid, all the taxes, right? Because, see, by the way, you don't pay for malpractice insurance anymore. The federal government picks that tab up. So you make $100,000, you take home $100,000, right? But you work 40 hours a week and you have 6 patients that you know. What? What? Okay, maybe 6 is too low. Yeah, I'm a horrible negotiator. Horrible. So you make $100,000 and you take care of 100 people, right? So you may see 5 a day, right? 100 people, you want to see them all in a month. It's 3 a day. I know we're chopping up some folks, but please don't do that to me. So, did you see my point? Okay, so you're highly skilled, you work in a trauma unit, right? Okay, $1 million a year. And you work 60 hours a week. Because, when you're there, it's like, you're cutting on people. You can't exactly, I gotta go. Okay, you see how we could work this out? How I want you to have time with your wife and your family and not... because the beautiful thing about this is, Daniel, and I appreciate you saying that, is that what we're talking about just dialogue. We're talking about how can we really just as men and women come together and just not be enemies. Because we can work out the details. But the idea is that we all agree that everyone should have health care, right? And so how we just throw it out, right? Let's write a book. How we want health care. Chapter 1. So, doctor, nurse, x-ray technicians. We can work all of that out. So that would be what the federal government would do when we do implement this plan. Is that before it gets implemented, you're not going to get 1,000 pages on Tuesday afternoon and expect to... No, we're talking 6 months of daily live television debating. I will give you so much news you won't know what to do with it. So yes, the concept of groups of people making their own kind of agreement right? And I understand the bad part of it, where some folks would be like, well, if it's a religious thing and you could like have sex outside of marriage, we're not going to pay for your, you know. I understand, but see, that wouldn't work in this system. Well, I'm not going to pay for it. Well, you know what? You're not. But you know what? I'm not going to pay for your son's football injuries either. What? Yeah, because you know what? When your little Johnny breaks his leg playing football, and you go to the doctor, because football, right? Yeah. Do you see how that works? We're not going to do that to one another any longer. And the reason I know that is because God told me so. I guess I really don't. I don't want to disrespect Mr. Oliver and his, but I did watch it. And Mr. Oliver, for whatever it's worth, I'm a comedian too, and I want to thank you for doing the I don't know if you call it a skit at the end about the but I don't want to be a snowflake and be like, you hurt my feelings. It's difficult. It's going to be difficult as brothers and sisters my Christian brothers and sisters that I want for us to be in the tent together. But I want to thank you for reminding me that there might be people that hear me that take what I'm saying in that kind of spirit. And I don't ever want anyone to feel like that made me feel. Because I know you're trying to help, and I know you're trying to do the health care, but I'm a Christian. And a lot of people don't stand up for Christians. And I know that I don't blame you. My brothers and sisters have really let God down. And I'm here, I'm trying. And I come in peace. And, anyway, I really appreciate, I love that show, and I love John Oliver. I think he's great. And he was really great during the pandemic, and I really believe him. I trust him. But I thank you for doing that, because that always reminded me that I can be a little sharp sometimes, and I don't ever want to make anyone feel like that. So, and I get that. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, Daniel, let me read what you said. My thing is, you being a healthy human is more important than my. Idea is that ultimately, we are our brother's keepers. And if we were to put all Americans in one healthcare bucket, I don't know how you could make it cheaper than that. And if you say you don't want to pay for this and you don't want to pay for that, well, you know what? Hey, as your Speaker of the House, you know what I would love to do? You know what I would love to do if you want to bring that to the table? You want to bring that. I don't want to pay for this. And you know what? Let's line item veto the budget. And by that I mean, like, imagine you as an American citizen sit down and be like, yeah, I don't want my taxes going to the military. Now, I know I started the whole thing out with the military, but I hear you. There might be some folks out there that don't want to pay for the military. Then what are you going to do? right? Well, see, that's because we're going forward. If you say, but then, no, we are going forward. And if you want to stay on that side of the river, you want to carry that woman with you a mile after we've crossed, you go right ahead, brother. Because you have your table over there that you can sit at with that baggage. But we're going forward, march, left, 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 right, right. We're going forward. Wake up, brothers and sisters. Master yourself. Human, master yourself. I don't want you suffering. I don't want you to go to heaven and be like, oh shit. Not on my watch, no. No, brothers, stop hurting people. Sorry. Let's start at the top, right, brothers and sisters? Where to begin? We're going to cleave it right here. Do you believe that every American has the right to vote and that it can't be taken away under any circumstances? If your answer is no, I don't believe that, you are a fascist and you are a villain. Well, no, you're an opponent because because you might not really get that. But if you want to double down on that, you want to live in an apartheid state, there are some countries out there that you can go to. I'm sure they would grant you citizenship. Leave. Because what you're doing is you're saying that eventually you don't want me voting. And brother, I will fight you, fascist that you are. I'm going to call you a fascist and I'm going to hold up a dictionary. And you, brother, will lose that every time. If you don't want every American citizen voting once, don't get it. And please tell me there's voter fraud. See, I have trapped you. I have trapped you. I have trapped you. If you don't want every American citizen voting, you are a fascist. If you believe that the party is superior to the citizen, you're a communist. I wonder who that is. I wonder out there in America, you know what, Daniel? I love you, brother. And yeah, okay, for anyone who, because see, that is called written language, Daniel, and that can be taken completely and utterly out of context. Now, I understand you and I are having a conversation, but you have to understand that, imagine if someone took that and that was all they knew of you. Just that one thing right there. I'm not pointing fingers, brother. I mean, I guess I am pointing fingers. But it doesn't matter. He's a citizen, right? You don't excommunicate a citizen for bad behavior. You incarcerate them and you rehabilitate them, right? You're going to ensure that they're not going to hurt other citizens. But that doesn't mean that they lose the right to vote. Because if you take away a person's right to vote in democracy, you take away all of their voting. You take away their voice. You take away their right to have a house. You take away it all. Because they made a mistake. Okay, so I know that, Daniel, I love you and I will defend you on that. I'm just saying that that's what we do I've noticed that when we write things on social media, because Facebook allegedly on purpose doesn't have a comedy color font, like please take this in as though I'm joking, right? They could do that, right? Like we could say that when I highlight something in the color yellow or red or whatever it is, it means I'm joking. But see, I wonder why they don't do that. Or Twitter or everybody. I mean, you could very easily allow the text to be changed to color so that folks would know not to take this literally. Or are we supposed to assume that every word on social media is not to be taken literally? Because then why are you doing it? I love YouTube. I love that I can get here and I can say things and people know I'm real and human and that I'm not some bot trying to right. Well, I mean that's the cleave. Because we want two parties. We want two, not one. We want two parties. Right, brothers and sisters? We want two parties. Not one, not three. We want two. I'm a Christian capitalist who wants two parties. And we're going to understand that there's a realignment that's happening. Yeah. That would go a long way to instill some understanding in social media, but I mean, whatever. Allegedly, I'm not here to do that. That's not my 10 million homes, frack 10 million jobs, 10 million homes. Okay, I know my wheelhouse. It's like a wheel. It's a table. You're no. So, well, okay, that's fine. But you know what? There are many seats available in Congress. Are you running? What are you doing, Daniel? Are you running for Congress? Are you? I mean, I don't. I'm not like. I'm honestly. Okay. Well. Okay. Now, what? I'm not sure if you missed this, but let's. I'm glad you said that because we'll circle back. We'll circle back around it. Okay. Now. Do you mean the GOP and the Democratic parties, like the billionaires? Like, I'm not, see, because you don't, I thought you wanted to decimate the billionaires. I thought you wanted, right, because now you're using Democratic and GOP language. That's incorrect, brother. Okay, if you want to decimate anybody, you need to decimate the people who are writing the checks. And those people are not Democrats and they're not Republicans. They're capitalists. They are self-indulgent, free market. I'm going to suck it all out before you get any capitalists. The GOP and Democratic neighbors that watch TV and we can bring them in. We want to educate. We want to elevate, illuminate. And I want Star Trek. Ooh, Ooh, Star Trek. I want Star Trek. I want teleportation and space flight. That's what I want. Okay. Oh. Why am I not there? I'm sorry. What? Beam me up, Scott. What? No. Well, I don't. I want that too. I mean, I want, you know. Okay. Now, once again, I'm going to ask a question, Daniel, because I know there's a whole bunch of lag here. Okay, I'm going to ask a question. Right? Okay. See, so now, okay. So I need you to answer a question. I need you to type the answer in. Okay, and I need it to not be a bunch of words. I need it to be an answer. Okay. So please just be here. Here comes the question. Okay. When you say GOP and Democrats, without breaking down the Dems and the GOP, okay, are you talking about breaking down the citizens, the party, or the donors? Or a combination of 1, 2, or 3, right? So I need to use the restroom and check on Velen because he's laying on top of the aquaponic unit. I want to make sure he hasn't fallen in it. And hopefully you'll have the... So remember, are we breaking down the Democratic and GOP parties, the donors, or the citizens, or a combination thereof? I love you, brother. I'm going to leave the mic on. I just need to go check on him real quick. I'll be right back. I'm back. You are such a Democrat. Okay, so keyboard. Oh, that's not. Oh, there it is. Do you want to break down? Do you want to break down the citizen, the party, or the donors? These B and oops and C. Now, that is few words. That's not even a word. That's 2 letters and a grammar thing. It's coffee. It's cold coffee. Okay. So, let's strategize this, right? So, can't really do anything about the donors outside of holding up signs outside of their house. Okay, they're going to spend their money I love you, brother. You're so pretty. Okay, yes. We are in agreement. Okay. The donors, we can't do anything about. Right? We're talking about peace and love and harmony, and I want to hug a millionaire. Okay, so because we're going forward, march, right? What we're going to do is that we're going to say that we are in agreement. My brother Daniel and David are in agreement that the issue is the party and the donors. I love the citizens. I love the citizens. I love the citizens. Come sit and come right here. Okay, so we can't do anything about the donors. They have a right to spend their money. Right. Okay. So now we're talking about parties. Now there's two parties, but they're funded by the same group of people. So it's one party. So because we're owed two parties, because if we only have one party, that makes us communists. So we need two parties. So we're not communists. Yeah, I got a grip on language. I know what I'm doing. So, two parties in a democratic republic. Democracy, everyone has a right to vote, and we have two parties. Because I want Star Trek, and I'm not going to get, we're going forward. Okay, so one party is going to consist of all of the people that are fascist. Not Nazis. I didn't say Nazi. So, if you want to limit voting rights, you are a fascist. That is what it says in the dictionary. So, brother, put the armband on and own it. You can call that party whatever you want, but you all are going to be in one party because you can't be in you can have your table over there. My table, everyone sitting here gets a vote. And because you don't want everyone here to have a vote, you can't sit over here. Now, as soon as you change your mind, you can sit over here. I wouldn't have the way I define it, because yes, you're right. I agree with you. Because then that becomes, okay, now, I could see a way of reaching out on that point and saying, if a corporation wanted to be an American person, right, I could see like a way that we could, but then if you're an American person, you're paying American taxes like an American person. So you want to belly up to the bar and pay your tab, right? And that not be, if you believe a corporation is a person, not all persons are citizens. That's what you say. Okay, well, look, Daniel, if you want to have a conversation, right, and talk about expectations about what we can do, as though we were kings and we're going to snap our finger, because what I can't do personally is I can't let Okay, we agree that everyone has an obligation to pay taxes. You and I, Daniel. Okay, you and I are in the same party. Okay, I don't understand why. Okay, yes. Do you think I don't know that? I mean, I'm not trying to be. I'm assuming that like what you're doing with your words is trying. I mean, I don't. Yes. Yes. Right. So we're okay. If you want to get a pen and paper out and figure that part out, like, I mean, like how? Okay. So what do? Now we're on progressive taxation, and now I'm like down a rabbit hole, and the thing is which is frustrating. I don't want any frustration because what I'm trying to get us to do is to build on agreements. Okay, and where everything I'm seeing on the internet, like all, and it has its place. Okay, I see the pictures of the homeless people, but I'm not seeing anyone talking about the ideas. Even now. Now I know we got 14 months. But what are you all going to talk about for the next 14 months? I see it in everybody's eyes. They're like, God, what are we going to... I see it. 14 months? What are you going to fill it up with? Not you, Daniel. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm just saying that, like, in every time we're not focused on what that means. Like how? Okay, so right. So, would you agree? Let's start here. Okay, I'm gonna ask a question, and I'm gonna take a breath, and I'm not gonna say anything because I need to wait for you, right? Because I need to work. I need to figure this out, and because I'm gonna. Right, so, do you agree that if we are going to, because what we can do is determine the party that you and I are going to be in, Daniel. If we can only have two parties, let's not use the word Democrat and let's not use the word Republican anymore. Right? We want to throw it all out. Okay, now there is a party in place. So what I'm trying to get us to do is disassociate ourselves. There are two political private apparatuses in place currently. Okay, one's called a Democrat Party and one's called a Republican Party. And they're broken down by states and localities. Okay, and then the national one is the funnel. Fellowship is great. I love the word fellowship, like Lord of the Rings fellowship, Christian fellowship, brother fellowship. And I want there to be fellowship between two parties. Okay, let's not think about what we're going forward. And because we want two parties, they have to be different in policy, right? Okay, so, all right, so here's the question, and then I'm going to shut up because I need to learn to shut up. I'm much better when, as you can see in the videos, when somebody's here in the room. Okay, so here's the question. We're going to have two parties, or here's a statement. We have two parties. The question is, would you agree to be in a party with me at my table where everyone in the United States can vote and it can't be taken away, right? Okay, so that's a yes or no question. Okay, I understand there's delay, so I'm just going to re-clarify. So I need you to answer, I need you to type the letter Y or the letter N. Just the what, like, can you, right? Do you agree that every American has the right to vote and it can't be taken away? And that that's going to be one party, and you and I are going to be in that party. It's yes or no. Please, brother, for me, you could help out your autistic. Thank you. That's how we're going to do it. Now, America, love you, brothers and sisters. You have to answer that question. You can't lie. You have to own that question. So, what I would recommend to anyone out there who's listening is that you start asking people that one question. Fuck the rest. Because there's an order to this. You have to ask that question. And when they answer no, you call them a fascist. Because that's what they are. And if you don't, I'm going to start asking why. Why would you not call someone a fascist? It's in the dictionary. What are you afraid of? It's like for whatever. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. So, as a plan of action, because see, they're vulnerable right now. They're not going to be vulnerable 16 months from now. They're vulnerable now. You swing now, or you're going to be swinging from a tree. And by that, I know that's a little hot, but by that I mean that if you don't attack now with words and ideas and political thought and get your shit together now, you're going to lose it. All of it. Ask yourself the one question. Do you believe that every American has a right to vote that can't be taken away? That is one party. Call it whatever you want, but that's this party right here. If you don't want every American citizen to vote, you're a fascist and you're in the other party. And that's where we're going to start. And I believe once you do that, once you cleave that, because you know what, my friends? There are people in the Democratic Party that don't believe that. There are people in the Democratic Party that don't want everyone voting. They are fascists. Actually, they're communists. Because they want the world owned by the party. That's communism. There's some of that in the Republican Party too. It's a multi-tier marketing scheme. So, if we can, every week, as a plan of action, we'll start at the top. Are you a fascist or not? Because people are going to have to let this roll around in their head for a while, because there are going to be people that own it. And then you trap those same people by them saying, but fraud. And every time they say the word fraud, they are voting for the federal government to take over voting. which is what we want. Go around the wheel, then it's equality under the law. Well, how are you going to fix that, David? Well, I can fix it real quick by just making you go through the system. You don't get a private attorney the first time around. That's an easy, but that's, right? You just don't get your attorney until you go through the thing. Then poor people will have top-notch attorneys. That's why you do it. Among other things, about calling corporations persons and not citizens, equality under the law. And part of the equality under the law message is an understanding that just because you didn't get caught and convicted and tried and yada 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 doesn't mean you're not guilty. Right? The dude that gets arrested for cigarettes is less horrible than you who raped someone and didn't get caught. Okay, that's this party. Do you understand? I really hope you get this. The equality under the law message is that the people that aren't getting caught are still doing the crimes. And they are not heroic because of it. Those two, if you want to clean a fish, you have to catch a fish. Those first two are there in order for a reason. To catch the hardest fish in the ocean. Libertarian, honest libertarians. Christians, believe it or not. Veterans. If my breakdown is correct, there are not a whole bunch of veterans that want to limit voting rights. Now, there may be a whole bunch of police officers that want to do that, but there are a bunch of United States military veterans that have laid down their life for that. So it's so simple. If we don't define the party that we're going to have to pick up and carry the rest of the way now, it's doomed for another 15 years. Ask yourself this question, in all honesty: who's going to be the next Democratic nominee for president in 2024? Ask yourself that question. Just take a moment, take a breath, and ask yourself that question. Doesn't matter about the Republicans. Doesn't matter. Because we have a Democratic president and a Democratic vice president right now. President Biden says he's running again, right? Didn't he say that? Just some dude in Georgia looking out the front door, thinking it's 2021. We're halfway through, coming out of a pandemic. People are ready. And now mask and other stuff is happening. What are you going to do? What are we going to do? What's America going to be like in 20 years? I don't know. Do you? Does anybody have a clue what the frack is going on? We have to, with love and peace, wrestle our opponents now. We have to define what we want now. Because they don't know. I can tell you what, you know who the next opponent, you know who's going to run against the next Democratic nominee for president? It's going to be Joe Manchin. If you all don't see this, he's mucking up the process on purpose to slow the roll so that he can become the next president and get one more round of Republican bullshit. But just go ahead, just let him do it. And then you know what's going to happen? In 8 months, I'm going to be sitting here pointing my finger at all of you. Just like this. Told you so. Doing it all for free. 7 subscribers, got $400 in the bank. No ads. Any ads on there? I couldn't tell you. Oh yeah, now that the ad thing is on my mind, I just want to ask a broad question. So if I were going to talk about, let's say, pornography in a Christian perspective, right? Or abortion, or any kind of like hot topic that I didn't want like a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old walking in on. And imagine my surprise if I made it 18 or over and was talking about Christian values and pornography ads showed up. Now, I want someone to explain to me how I should react to that. If that, allegedly, is that happening? I don't know. Could it? Maybe that's what I will do going forward, is that I'm going to talk Christian values to an adult audience. And there better not be porn. Lube ads show up on my shit. Just to be real, because you know what? I don't know. How would I do that? What setting do I toggle? Because you know what? How do I, where's the customer service YouTube phone number? Can I call YouTube and ask this question? Because I'm serious about it. Think about it, right? So I'm a Christian preacher, and I want to talk to an 18-year-old audience about pornography. What would happen if a pornography ad shows up on that message? I don't know. Does anybody think about that? Hello? I don't know. Do you? Thinking ahead. Going forward. That's been on my... I didn't know how to... So that's been on my mind. Because that's... So anyway, brothers and sisters, I've really said my piece. I love you so much. I can't begin to tell you how much I believe in you and how much I trust you. I would trust you to go to Washington and make the right decision. I would. I'm okay with living under mob rule because I trust you. What are you going to come? Steal my avocado? We can do this, but we have to do this now. all of us in our neighborhoods, if you're going to run for Congress, you have to make up your mind in the next 3 months. Like, make up your mind. And, like, have money ready. Not a bunch, less than $1,000, I think. It's probably more in some areas. What the hell else are you going to do? Think about that. Think about how fun it would be. Right? Get $1,000 together, fill out the paperwork, and then go have a great time and go talk to your neighbors. The plans are right there. All you have to do is ask people, do you agree with this? Yes or no? Do you agree with this? Yes or no? And then you'll know. Because you are far better suited to talk to your neighbors than I am. I'm here every day. You can call me. What can you type me a message? I mean, I'll do it all for free. I don't really want to run for a seat because I'm going to have to help you doing it. Right? I mean, I can't, so I've got the plans. I've come up with the Nobel Prize winning, allegedly, thing, right? I've done all this. Right now, I'm going to run for a seat and I'm going to help you win. Okay, I'll do it. Yeah. All right, Daniel. Well, brother, I mean, why not? You've already run for city council, man. Do it. Just do it. You're young, you're intelligent, you're good looking, you're hardworking, you're articulate, you're a Christian on top of everything else. Like you love God. I trust you. Your family would help you. Just do it. I don't know, just, right? And the same goes for you out there watching. Just do it. What's the worst that can happen? We don't win. Oh well. Maybe next time. Every 2 years. Because you know what? Let me tell you a secret. You ready? Because what the Republicans can't have is high turnout this time. We have to have so much enthusiasm or it's done. For 15 years. We are not going to keep people focused on this while they're at the beach as they exploded out of the house, assuming that everything works out and that we're out of right? That we're free. These people are not going to want to hear about policy. Little bites every day. And the fascist part, we have to get those folks out of our party first. They have to wear that first. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be. There are people out there that have been doing this a long time. I'm not here to upset the apple cart. Just seems self-evident. What I hear on YouTube, what I see going on is people just reading articles and where's the policy? I know you say people don't care, right? But, there are people that sign up, right, that donate money on Patreon and sign up on the YouTube thing. Oh, and by the way, since we're talking about that, why YouTube doesn't cut Patreon out entirely and really lower the fees so that everybody goes through that one button for YouTube and not separate? But maybe it's best to keep it separate so that you don't, or maybe you own Patreon. Ha 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 ha, who knows, right? Point being is that people are nurturing an environment and a network and a platform where policy can be over time gently talked about. YouTube is the perfect platform for policy discussion because it's a yes or no, right? You can get an instant, assuming everybody's name up there is a real human being, and you ask a question and they go yes, 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 yes. That is as democracy as we'll ever get. Joe Biden became president of the United States and he campaigned twice. If he can do it, we can do it. There are so many bright, intelligent, loving, creative people out there. I know you're there. We need to ask questions, which is what is perfect for this. We need to put our big boy pants on. And when I talk about abortion and pornography, and we need to push each other to grow. Like, a little chicken and egg pushes out. We have to push out of this deception that we've allowed ourselves to fall in. I'm not a big letter writer. This is my letter to the world, right? And so if I need to do this and then for someone to take me seriously, send a letter to the New York Times and write this stuff down, I don't know. But I'm putting it out there free of charge. My heart is open. I'm here to pray for you. I'm giving it all to you. Heed my advice. Fourth of July, there's going to be people on the road traveling. It's a captive audience. America. It's a perfect time to talk about history. But before we talk about race and religion and politics, we have to talk about fascism and voting. There is no other more important issue on the table. Are we a fascist nation that doesn't allow every citizen to vote, or aren't we? Because then everything else comes from that. You can't design anything else unless you answer that question first. You can't. It's impossible. And if we're going to be a nation of laws, we are all bloody well going to be equal under it. All of us. And then because we all have to have a roof over our head, and because we need to be creative, self-starting thinkers, and we all need to go to the doctor, the richest nation on the world, we're bloody well going to make sure that happens. And then you all can argue over the rest, and I'll disappear in the woods somewhere. How's that? I mean, what do you want from me? Let's read a little bit at night. Remember remember what we talked about at the beginning? Do you remember those 2 words? Ask your son, ask your daughter. Like, sit them down, give them a 3x5 card. Ask him, can you define that?
Conscience. Conscience.
So anyway, guys, I didn't think I'd be on this late, but I love you so much, and I'm here for you. I'm here to pray for you. We'll do a little prayer before I go, and I'm going to wrestle my last breath for you. It is not easy to care and push yourself and keep things in your mind of importance. It is not easy. It gets easier. But what are you thinking about today? What have you thought about today? And I know there's a bunch of people out there smiling because you thought about good things. And you did nice things. And you made God happy. And if you didn't, it's like doing the daily show, right? You get another chance every day. And maybe that's all it is, right? And just know that I'm here for you, and I want to help you win. I want to help you wrestle your opponent, and for us to make our country the most perfect union in the history of history. Because we can do that. God's help. Obey the commandments of Jesus, which is take care of the sick, go visit the prisoners in jail, forgive your enemies, spend time with God, be gentle, be kind. It's not a bad life. It's really not. I promise you'll be happy if you follow the commandments of Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Find someone to love. Stick with them, him or her. Know your neighbor. I promise you, you'll be happier than if you didn't. I promise you. With the only authority I have, I promise you, if you're not happy, let Jesus into your heart. Understand that God walked on this planet, hung on a cross for you, absorbed all the sin on the planet, gave us eternity so that we might have a relationship with him. Gave us abundance and free will. let's not let it end up like this. So with the authority that's invested in me by the Holy Spirit, I promise you, if you love your neighbor and forgive your enemies, be kind to one another, you'll be happy. There'll be joy in your life. And that's why I'm here. O God Almighty, holy, holy, holy is your name. Thank you, God, for the roof over my head, the clothes on my back, and the sandals that are over there. Thank you for the healing that's undergoing in Velen. Thank you for the healing that's undergoing our planet, our neighbors. Give our leaders the strength and the wisdom to do what is your will. Lift up everyone that feels invisible and lonely and forgotten. Give us the sight to see the people that need help. Let us leave no man or woman behind. Give us the strength to forgive our enemies. Let us live a life with wonder and generosity and a heart filled with joy. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, I ask all of these things. Amen. Well, brothers and sisters, I'll be back tomorrow. I love you very much. If there's anything I can do for you, you know the drill by this point. I'm here for you. The information is all on my YouTube page. I'm here for you. Email me. I will pray for you. I love you guys. I really, really, really love you. And thank you for putting up with me. And forgive me if I've ever made you feel as though because I love you. I don't ever want to be. I don't ever want to make fun of you, ever. And if I ever razz people about being stupid, it's only because I know you can do better. I know that if you just thought about things, you'd figure it out. And that's my frustration is that. And so, anyway, I love you, Daniel, and I love you. I love all of you, and know that I'm rooting for you and I'm praying for you. And all the ideas are out there, and you can comment under the videos. There's comments, like if you look at the video, there's comments. Tell me you agree. Right? Tell me what you don't agree with. I could be wrong, and it's a big universe, and there's many different ways we can do things, but nobody's talking about just anyway. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace and blessings. I hope you find joy. Read a book, hug a kid, pet an animal. Kiss the wind, and know that God loves you. And so do I. Good night, everybody.